Welcome and thanks for signing up to our social media webinar, and also our thanks to Sam Amps for sharing her expertise, and hopefully you can take away some tools, tips and knowledge to move your business forward on social media. Don't forget that the Growth Hub is here to help you find any other support that can help. We're a free service. You can have a free business review, we can send someone out to have a chat with you, and then we go away and do the research to find any free support that you can access to help move your business to the next level. All you need to do is give us a call or message us on social media and we'll do the rest. Enjoy the webinar, hope you find it useful.
Hi everyone, this is Sam. I've got not everybody online yet, but quite a few of you, so we'll get started. It is 2 o'clock according to my phone, so I'll start talking. What we're going to do today is a short webinar that introduces you to some of the major changes in social media. Most of them have happened in the last 2 or 3 months. Some go back a bit further, more like 6 months. I'm not going to talk about everything that's happened because there's been quite a lot, but what I have done is chosen things that I think are particularly relevant to those of you in small to medium-sized businesses. So there may be things that you've heard about that I don't mention, in which case feel free to ask a question. On your dashboard for the webinar, you'll see a tag that says questions. If you type anything in there, I'll answer them at the end. So I've got about 40 to 45 minutes worth of presentation, and then we'll have a look at the questions at the end. If we don't get to them all, then I answer them by email or come back to you some other way. Don't worry about writing stuff down and panicking. In the handout section, you will find a PDF of the slides, and that's also got a list of the links of everything that I'm going to show you on the live screen. So you don't need to write everything down as you go. Please don't just take it now and run away though. It'd be nice to have your company for the next 40 minutes or so. To make it work really well, you might want to close other tabs and shut down your email and things like that so that your connection isn't getting swallowed up by other things that are going on. So you might want to do that now. I've also put my phone into airplane mode so that I shouldn't get any distractions. Basically, make your connection as good as you can for the spate of the webinar. You're not going to have to look at me the whole time. This is just to get going. I haven't done my Instagram makeup or even sorted out my hair for the weird headset. So I'm not going to make you look at me for much longer. Just saying hi. Great. I think that's about it in terms of intro. There should be things in here that you can do straight away that will make a bit of a difference to your business. So if you do see anything in here that you find really useful, then jump on it, maybe this afternoon, have a look and see what you can do with it. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sam Amps, and I run Sam Amps Marketing and Web. I do digital marketing, normal marketing, website development, lots of work on basically helping people's online presence, bring them in more business, and bits of training. So some of you I can see from the list, I think I've taught at some point at Truro College. So hello, nice to have some friendly faces on the list. And yeah, do get in touch if there's anything I can help with. Otherwise, that's bye from my face at least, and I'll go on to the presentation. Great, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is a change on Facebook, and this is opening up some of what goes on behind the scenes in Facebook to help deal with privacy concerns that people have had. And there's been a number of recent changes that are around privacy and data sharing, as you might have expected, both with what's been in the news and also what's happened with GDPR changes, the legislation changes earlier this year. This first one's not really to do with GDPR or anything like that, but it is about being more open, and it does come a little bit from the situation in the US with people doing advertising on Facebook that was a bit sneaky and maybe trying to influence politics and things like that. It has a nice side effect for those of us using Facebook for business, which is that you can now look at any Facebook page and see what adverts it's running, which means that if you're thinking of doing some advertising and your competitors have already done some, you can have a look and see what their ads look like at the moment. And it's on the main Facebook page, so I put a red box around it on here, info and ads. If you go to that, you'll see what that company is currently doing. I'm just going to try and open up that live. So if I go to the Rude Health page, this is now live. So scroll down, look at info and ads. And then when it opens, you'll see active ads from Rude Health. And these are ads that are currently running in your location, so in your territory. It says they're not running any in other country, and down here we can see the actual ads. So you could watch their videos if you wanted to. You can't like, comment or share from here. It's just a bit of a window to see what they're doing, but you can see what their current ads look like. You can't go back either. You can only look at what's currently live. So you might want to do this occasionally, maybe screenshot the ads if you're looking for ideas. Other information that's on here might be helpful is under the page information on the right, and you can see when the page was created, if it's ever changed its name. Now, some of the more dodgy political sites have opened up with one name, got lots of likes, and then changed the name to something a bit more controversial. So that's what this is about. But it'll also tell you if a company has changed its name. And it will also tell you here if that page has merged with another page at some point. And there's more coming on this. So eventually it will show you which country this page is registered in and even who manages the page. So you might look at your own page information, see what it says, and check that you're happy with that and that you're aware that that's open to the public. But in the meantime, bit of industrial espionage, you can have a look and see what ads other people are running on Facebook. Going back to the presentation. The next slide is about stories, and this isn't really brand new, but it is something that not a lot of people are aware of or using. And I thought I'd point it out because although people are maybe more aware of it on Instagram, perhaps not so many are aware of it on Facebook. And this is that when you write a post, you now have the option to either put it in your news feed, which is what you're used to doing, or to publish it as a story. And what's the difference? If it goes into your news feed, it stays there. If it goes into your story, it's only visible for 24 hours and then it disappears. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, on Instagram, people have been using stories partly because they're maybe sharing an image that is not quite up to the standard that they would like, or it doesn't really match their other images. When you see the whole homepage and all the images laid out underneath, maybe this one isn't quite as well taken, as well lit, or as well branded, and so they just put it up in a story for 24 hours. On Facebook, you might do it for similar content, really. So content that is maybe more relaxed, more conversational and less significance longer term, something that's only valid for a day or two, like an offer that you're just running for today. Places like beauty salons and nail bars, and you're often seeing, we've got appointments this afternoon, where you don't need that to stay on your news feed. In fact, it doesn't look very good if it is on your news feed because it looks like you're always trying to fill holes. Then you might want to put that up as a story instead. So think about whether you're sharing something, whether you want to share it forever or whether you want to share it today. And you've always got that option now, Facebook and Instagram. It means that you can put some more personal, more relational stuff up in with your kind of planned, more curated content that is going to stay on the page. You may not also have noticed, but you've also got this scheduling tool for the news feed. So you can either share now or you can share at a certain later date if you're not using things like Hootsuite or Buffer or other scheduling tools. You can do the scheduling from within Facebook itself now on those posts. Some other changes with Facebook and Instagram are to the advert targeting. You might have noticed these. If you've been running ads on either channel, you might have had some warnings saying that your audience had changed. Number of reasons behind these, partly to do with GDPR and data protection, and partly to do with the legal situation and diversity legislation. So you can no longer target whether people are interested in men or women. We had a question at, I think, one of the hospitality seminars that I did a while ago about, surely this isn't right that you can do that because, for example, B&Bs could advertise only to straight couples using that targeting. And at that time, it was possible. It's no longer possible for precisely that reason, that you shouldn't be targeting against those kind of biases. Equally, this morning, and I did write this quite last minute, but not quite this morning, but this morning there was an addition to this, which is that you can no longer target by ethnicity or religious beliefs. So all that, the equality legislation is starting to be reflected in Twitter and Instagram targeting. So if you have been using that for whatever reason, you might want to check your audiences and go in and adjust them. If you have a legitimate reason for doing that, for example, you run a dating site and you've got ads aimed at men and ads aimed at women and ads aimed at who's interested in which, then you can apply to have that restriction lifted. Although I don't think we've got anybody in the current attendees who's running a dating site as far as I know, but if you are on the side, then you can get that permission. Some of the other data that you can no longer target comes from the partner categories data that Facebook uses. And this is data that Facebook had previously obtained from third parties. It included things like income level, investment, home ownership, a lot of financial stuff. And that is no longer possible after GDPR. So Facebook have had to remove that targeting. I've seen that affect a few of my clients who were, for example, targeting people of high net worth. That choice is no longer there. So that's data from third parties isn't there anymore. So the only data that's in targeting now is data that Facebook itself has acquired. Some new options, well, one main one that I think would be useful to Cornwall is there's now an option to target trip consideration. And so rather than only targeting people who are currently on holiday in Cornwall, which you can do, you can now target people who are thinking about coming to Cornwall. And that will be based on them asking for recommendations for things in Cornwall, looking at relevant travel pages, and maybe liking pages up front in Cornwall when they don't live here. So that's a new thing to think about, maybe perhaps through the winter months when you're doing some advertising for next year, if you're in the hospitality industry. Another change for the targeting is that if you are using the custom audience feature, then you now must have permission to use your customers' data to do that. If that's complete gobbledygook to you, I better explain. And that is the facility on Facebook and Instagram whereby you can add, for example, your own list of customer emails and then target those people inside Facebook. So you can create a custom audience, which in the past was maybe your email marketing list, and then advertise to those people if they've got Facebook accounts at the same address. And that's been used quite a lot in the past. It's quite a useful one, you know, making sure that people that already are in touch with you are seeing your Facebook activity. You can still do it, but there's a reminder when you do it that you should have those people's permission to do that with their data, as well as to send them emails. So if you have, for example, a MailChimp account and people are signing up to get emails from you on MailChimp, you can now use the GDPR form with MailChimp to ask 2 questions, both with an opt-in, one saying, is it okay to send you email? And one saying, is it okay to target you with online advertising? And you would use that second one if you wanted to use those emails for Facebook and Instagram advertising or Google advertising, making sure that you've got permission to actually do both. So if you have got a custom audience and you haven't got that permission, you should probably get rid of that until you've got the permission sorted out. It's not all bad news. There's some good new stuff, new opportunities coming up. If you've got a business page on Facebook, you may have seen it change its layout a bit recently, particularly on mobile. They've been trying to improve the way pages appear on Facebook, on phones for local businesses. So that's if you've got like an address and opening hours and things like that. The page on Facebook should be showing more useful information to your visitors. Some of the things that are worth noting on that are this prominence of recommendations. So people are getting a real kind of in your face score of your recommendations and reviews. And at the moment, these are out of 5. there is a switch in progress to put that to being out of 10. So you might see that change over the next few weeks. And because it's so prominent, you really want to make sure that you've got some good recent reviews on Facebook. So as that happens, right about now would be a good time on Facebook to ask your customers to leave you a review and a recommendation. The score is based on the reviews people have left. It's also based on the relatively new feature of when people ask for a recommendation, has somebody done that? So you might have seen friends saying, can anyone recommend a restaurant or a plumber? And the more people that recommend you, that will help with your score on here, as well as the actual reviews that people post. Some other things that are coming to this business page, not there with everybody's pages yet, but you'll start to see them arrive, are enhancements to the events feature. At the moment, I see a lot of people getting a bit tangled up between adding a Facebook event and then maybe also putting the event on Eventbrite. And so you mark that you're going on Facebook, and then you've got to go to Eventbrite, and then you've got to sign up, and then you've got to mark that you're going on there. And across the two, both the organizer and the guest have got no clue, how many people are actually going to turn up and which they signed up on. So it's probably bad news for Eventbrite, but good news for Facebook and for event organisers, that you will soon be able to actually deal with ticketing and paid ticketing all through Facebook. So yeah, if you've got any Eventbrite shares, now might be the time to get rid of them. Yeah, so paid ticketing will be available through Facebook, which hopefully means that next time I register for Bat Night, which I did the other day, by saying on Facebook I'm going and then ignore the link to Eventbrite and don't go and get a ticket, it won't mean that I'm let down on the day because it's sold out, as has every Bat Night in Cornwall apparently. Little aside there. Other things that are coming up, Facebook is massively enhancing its jobs feature. Again, maybe trying to rival LinkedIn. So you'll be able to post jobs on your business page as well and share them through that. I think that, we'll have to see how that pans out. I imagine it might be a bit like Facebook Marketplace, that it's maybe done for sort of smaller, lower key jobs or more casual jobs. But we'll see, maybe they'll be recruiting, I don't know, marketing directors through Facebook before too long. So keep an eye on that. It's also helping you pop up into the local browsing section on Facebook. So if you've got good recommendations on here and somebody is looking at your page under the local part of Facebook, you'll be able to see yourself listed more prominently. So that's another reason to get good local recommendations. So quite a few things coming to business pages, both in terms of layout and in terms of functionality. Another thing that's not entirely new, but you might not have noticed, is that there are quite a lot of different types of posts to choose from now on Facebook, on your personal page and on your business page. So we've gone far beyond a bit of text and a photo or a video. Now loads and loads of options. There's a whole list on the page here. You can see most of them, how they appear. To show you live how they appear so you believe me. If I go to my page, so you can see here when you start to write a post initially, then if I click on this, you can see they all pop up, and I've got the option to get people to message me. So if I want to maybe get some private information from people, tell me what you think of my website or something, but don't do it on my main page. You could ask for messages, get phone calls, start a poll, start a question and answer. And this one, which I wanted to point out, because there's so many of us in Cornwall that work with non-profits and charities, is to support a non-profit. In America, this is launched as a birthday feature on Facebook, and I think that's going to come here quite soon, and it'll be a really nice feature. So it's here already, so I can post and say, I'm going to support a local, well, any charity that's on here, and perhaps on my birthday, I might say, oh, I don't know which one to choose. This is just one's popped up. Okay, if you want to wish me a happy birthday, show your appreciation by giving some money to Save the Children. Okay, so as a company, it's good to know it's there. As an individual, it's good to know it's there because it's done brilliantly on the birthday setup in the States. But as a non-profit or charity, even better to know it's there because you need to register your non-profit so that it will pop up here. So I did have a look to see how many Cornwall ones there were, and actually a lot of them are America Cornwall. Eyesight Cornwall is on there, which is great. I think one of you is in the webinar, so well done you. But not a lot else. I think, you know, say people like, I don't know, Children's Hospice and Air Ambulance and all of that, you might want to get yourself registered on here so that you are at least an option on the support non-profits. Get that going before the birthday thing really takes off. Other things that are on here that are useful, if you're selling stuff, if you've actually got products, you're somebody like a gift shop or a furniture store or interior designer, some of the people I work with, you can tag your products within your posts now. So you can upload your Facebook catalog, set up your Facebook catalog. You can maybe just add your top 50 products or something, and then you'll be able to tag those products in posts on Facebook and Instagram. And I'll show you more about that in a minute because that is quite a heavy new feature. So quite a lot going on there, and you can use all of these to make a bit more of your business page. So a few other things from Facebook that are not live yet but are coming soon, that have been spotted in testing, or Facebook have actually told us are coming soon. There's usually a bit of both on these. This one, your time on Facebook. I don't know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. I personally find it quite terrifying because what this is going to do is allow you to manage and limit how much time you spend on Facebook. So it will show you how many minutes per day you spent using the app. You can set yourself a reminder to say, tell me when I've spent half my life on Facebook, and I might stop or I might not. You can mute notifications. I quite like this idea. This is quite good. So if you know that you're going to be driving, or you're going to be in a meeting or asleep, and you don't want Facebook to send you notifications and your phone isn't otherwise muted through one of Apple's amazing apps, then you can just stop notifications. I like to think that I will use this when I'm trying to focus on work. So mute notifications for an hour or something while you try and get on with something really difficult. So there's quite a lot coming to that, and this is all about Mark Zuckerberg saying that he wants to make our lives better, and spending too much time on Facebook is not good for anybody. So an actual scary activity dashboard that tells you how long you've spent, and various tools to remind you when you're spending a bit too long on here. Another one that I like, and I think there'll be lots of uses for, are paid groups. So bear with this, it's a bit scary to start with, but it's not. So at the moment, you've got the option to set up a group for your business as well as a page, or in some cases instead of a page. And you might run that group to support your customers, to, I don't know, I might support people that I'm training. Group and answering their questions, running some little live chats with that group and things like that. A private group, and they approve you to join it once you've paid your membership of whatever training organization it is, or whatever it is. But then they have to go through all the shenanigans of remembering, you know, when you've paid and when you haven't, and not forgetting to chuck people out and things like that. So if you're doing anything like that, this should make it easier, in that you'll actually join through Facebook, you'll pay through Facebook, and your monthly fee will come via Facebook, and you'll get kicked out if you don't pay it, which is probably good for the company organising it. And I don't know, it might encourage people to value groups a bit more, because some of these groups are offering huge amounts of support to their subscribers. So possibly an opportunity there to monetize some of what you do with Facebook advice. Another useful one, but maybe more useful privately than with work, but I quite liked it, so I thought I'd show you, is coming, and I've seen it on my feed occasionally. It's come and gone, so hopefully it'll come and stay soon. And this is snoozing keywords. At the moment, you can snooze a person or a company, so you don't want to hear from somebody who, I don't know, is on holiday and you don't like where they are, or you're sick of seeing pictures of them on beaches. You can snooze them for 30 days. Now you'll be able to snooze keywords as well for 30 days. So the example Facebook give is, if you don't want to hear what's happening in Game of Thrones, you can snooze any post that contains Game of Thrones for 30 days. If you're sick of hearing about Donald Trump, you can snooze him for 30 days. It'll suggest stuff. So when you hold up against a post, you'll see snooze keywords, and then you can choose from here which keywords you don't want to see for 30 days, and it'll take those things out of your feed, and then it'll just come back on after 30 days. I think that'd be quite a useful one. Moving on to Instagram. One of the biggest changes on Instagram that's fairly recent is the introduction of IGTV, Instagram TV. Before this, Instagram videos were only about a minute long, and now they can be longer form. It's designed to allow you to create your own Instagram TV channel, post longer videos, and these are videos that are specifically designed to be watched on phones, so they are vertical, as in that way up, as in portrait, not landscape, and full screen, so you can create your own TV channel really via Instagram. It's accessible two ways. There's an Instagram TV app where it's all like this, and there is Instagram TV within Instagram. So have a look at this icon on your Instagram, see if there's any TV that you want to watch. It'll suggest stuff for you, and you can see what people are doing with IGTV. It might be, you might enjoy it, as in you can watch stuff and distract yourself. You might find it's a tool that you can use for your business. Not many people are doing it yet, so much like getting a YouTube channel in the early days, maybe getting an IGTV channel would be helpful to you. Another change on Instagram, aside from the biggest one, which I haven't mentioned really, which is just that Instagram has got huge growth at the moment, and if you're not on it, it is pretty much now time. Instagram is the fastest growing platform out there at the moment, and definitely taking off with business accounts, starting to really make a difference to people. If your product is vaguely photogenic, then do get yourself on Instagram. But another change that's happened there is the ability to mention and share user-generated content more easily. So if you ask a customer to @mention you in their post, which is simply @ and then your Instagram name, you can then repost that story for 24 hours. So Instagram doesn't really have a retweet tool like Twitter does, or a share tool like Facebook does at the moment. But it does now have that if you're mentioned. So if you're mentioned, you can repost that story in its first 24 hours. So take advantage of that. You know, if you've got a hospitality business, or if you've got a product business and they're tagging you something that they've bought from you, something that they've done for you, charity, and they've raised some money for you, get them to tag you in their photographs, and then you'll be able to add their story to your story. This is only available on public accounts. Why you'd have a private account as a business, I'm not sure anyway, but if you have got a private account and you can't do it, that's why it needs to be public. And it would be polite if you do it to mention them back. So don't forget to do that if you do repost their content. Of course, you can also ask for user-generated content like this. You can suggest that people tag you and mention you on their posts, and then that'll generate a bit more for you to do. Next one I have mentioned already, and this is shoppable tags. So this is done through Facebook Business Manager. So if you haven't discovered Facebook Business Manager and you're selling stuff, whether it's sunglasses or gifts or I don't know, widgets or possibly services somehow, then you want to add your catalog to Facebook through Business Manager, which are just your products and details. And then once you've done that, you can tag those products on Facebook or on Instagram. So for example, this photograph, you can tag the sunglasses, and then if I click on them, I'll get taken to some more details and then taken to buy them. I've seen this done with great effect with interiors, furniture stores and things like that. So photograph of a room with every item tagged, and then you can click through and actually buy those items. It connects well with Shopify and BigCommerce. If you're using those, you can easily take the catalogue across. Otherwise, you need to create the catalogue through Facebook Business Manager. That might sound like a huge task, but if you think about it and you just add 20 products to start with and try it with those, maybe your most visual products or the products you're really pushing, give it a try, see how that works, and then slowly add the rest of your products. Instagram has also recently added video chat, so private chat, but on video. So simply, as you've got in Facebook as well, start a video chat when you're talking to somebody privately. My first reaction to this was, well, why would you use that for business? And I don't need to stare at my customer. But then also, I spoke to some people about how they were using it, and I found some quite interesting feedback and some good ideas about why video might be helpful. One of these, I was talking to somebody I did a bit of work with who designs cakes, for example, and she said she would talk to her client, who perhaps is somebody who's about to get married or have a big birthday or something, and say to them, what would you like your cake to look like? And they haven't got a clue. And then she could see in the background something in their house, and then she'd say, okay, well, let's have a look around. Show me your house, show me your sitting room, show me what's on the pinboard. And from the two of them just carrying the phone around the house and showing her some things in the house, they could start to get some ideas of what they would do with the cake. And similarly, you might do that if you're working with design, interior design, if you're working with clothing, if you're working with for me, working out how to advertise perhaps a holiday let or another business, then you could use it not just to look at the person, but to perhaps look at things around them. If you were teaching them how to use one of your products, you could actually get them to video themselves trying to use it, or video their screen, or video themselves trying to build the furniture you sold them, whatever it is. And that might be a useful purpose for video chat. So it's there, it's helpful. Another idea, bit off the wall, but it's being done well, is the ability to add questions and poll stickers to Instagram posts. So you can actually run a poll or ask a question on your Instagram post and get interactions. This one on the left is one that came up in my feed from St Michael's Hotel in Falmouth. It says something like, shouldn't all changing rooms look as good as this? Yes and no. Okay, which is get some interactions. And it shows off the changing room. Quite nice. And this was me messing around. This is Boris, who helps me out with work sometimes. And you can just ask a poll, ask a question. It's maybe a bit more of an engaging way to ask a question. Talking of which, if you've got any questions, don't forget to type them in the box. And I'll come back to them later on. So to do that, you share put up your picture, look for the sticker drawer, and tap the sticker with a question, and then type in the text. And then if someone wants to reply, they just simply tap on the sticker and type in their reply, and you share it through stories or through private messaging. So have a play with that next time you put something up. See if you can add a yes or no poll or a simple question like that. Another good idea, perhaps, for collecting content for blog posts, doing a survey in a slightly more interactive way. Don't know what he was. Oh, he's watching Facebook by the looks of it, so not too exciting. Not squirrels or anything. Coming soon to Instagram, not quite there yet, is the verified blue badge. You'll have seen this on some much larger accounts. At the moment, it's only on the kind of massive accounts, but it's going to come down to everybody. You'll have seen it on Twitter, the ability to verify your account as being really you. It's usually done by something like posting you a postcard to your business address, so that they know that you are who you say you are, and that will become available. They'll let you know when that becomes available if you've got a business account on Instagram. So the first step would be to change your Instagram account to a business account if it's not already, and then you'll get the opportunity to verify that you are actually the real Poldark and not one of the many Poldark. Okay, one of the many I was going to say fakes, but not fakes. Let's say supplementary accounts. At the moment, only Apple users can see this, but it's going to come out to everybody. Another coming soon on Instagram is the ability to remove followers from public accounts. At the moment, you can do this on private accounts, but you can't do it on public accounts. And this is just to, rather than block somebody, is to just totally remove them so they can't see anything that you post. If you've got sort of spam followers or negative followers in some way, you will be able to remove them. So that's everything for Facebook and Instagram, and they are the bulk of it. So we're nearly there. If you're needing a cup of tea, don't panic. Couple of things on LinkedIn and Twitter. LinkedIn, the change that I found recently from LinkedIn are changes to Messenger within LinkedIn. Quite a lot more functionality to writing messages. You can actually touch the box, see a bit more screen than you could before, and write a bit more and actually sort of read what you're writing before. Used to be a lot of kind of half-written messages sent on LinkedIn. Hopefully that will stop. Now everybody can see the whole thing. You can also, within the app, you can share files. So you can attach, let's say, your CV, if you've got it in Dropbox on your phone or you've got it somehow stored on your phone, you can attach the file and send that straight away through Messenger, which sounds based. The other social media platforms can do it, but you can now do that on LinkedIn as well. It's a bit easier to manage group messages. So you can set up a group message and just add people one by one and see clearly who is in the conversation, or even give it its own name. That's helpful. And you can mention people, so tag people in messages. So if you're talking to someone, you're saying, hey, you should really talk to this person, you can do that within a message. All of that, lovely, useful, helpful stuff. Next one, not sure about this, but you can now start recording your voice and send your voice as a message on LinkedIn instead of typing. So if you would rather do that, I don't know, I can see people maybe doing it while they're driving or something, or you've got to explain something and it's just easier to say it rather than type it. You can add voice clips to messages. Please don't do that to me. I am not a big fan of voicemail. Anyway, that's messaging. The other thing that's added is a new option in LinkedIn advertising. And this is carousel ads. You'll have seen these on Facebook, and now they're on LinkedIn too. And this is where you can add usually sort of 5 or 6 different cards or screens to your ad to scroll through maybe your different products or your different services that you offer, and make a kind of more engaging, compelling advert using content a bit more creatively. This one's great. This is the example one that they give, but you can see how they've managed to take it across the slides, and each slide can have a slightly different headline, all going to the same place, exactly like a Facebook carousel ad if you've done them. I like the idea of using this for B2B to promote your different services or the different aspects of your business. I think a lot of people's sort of gut reaction when they see it is, oh no, my product's not visual, how would I do that? But you know, I could see straight away how I would use this, for example, for having, I don't know, website development, SEO, online advertising, blog writing, reporting, training, all the different things that I do. Quick little plug hidden there, on different slides. And then not only does that make the ad more interesting, it also gives you the ability in your reporting to look at which slide got the most engagement or the most clicks. So that gives you a bit of a clue as to what people are most interested in. So it's a bit of a research tool as well as an advert. So next time you're running a LinkedIn advert, you might want to try using a carousel and get your images sorted out to do that nicely and to stand out from the crowd. Another thing on LinkedIn, actually kind of a bit linked to the messenger stuff we talked about earlier, haven't seen it live on mine yet, but you might see it soon, is that it will show you, like Facebook Messenger does, if somebody is currently active on LinkedIn. Not sure if this is a pro or a con, really. I suppose it could be useful if you want trying to get hold of somebody and you can see they're there, then you're more likely to get them at that time. Then yeah, it's helpful. You can turn it off. So this has appeared on mine. So you can manage active status and say whether you want only your connections or nobody at all to be able to tell when you're actually online. Maybe you want to hide it if you're looking for a job on LinkedIn while you're actually at work, or just show it to your connections, whatever. As you can see, I think I've probably turned it off, but it is there if you're trying to get hold of people. You can see who's around. LinkedIn video has had some changes that you can now create video ads on sponsored content, and you can also create video on your company pages more easily. And these can be used quite effectively to drive traffic, or collect leads, or promote whatever your call to action is. Video sponsored content. So if you do an ad and you sponsor content and you sponsor video content, it will go straight into people's newsfeed as a standalone post. So it's got quite good cut through. People are likely to see it. It's got this facility to add a call to action button, and you can choose various options on that. So for example, register for an event on here, download a white paper, sign up using a lead generation form. There's quite a few different things that you can do. Your metrics will show you how much of the video people watched and how much engagement you got, how many comments and clicks and things like that. All quite helpful. Ideas for using that, if you've got existing video, like About Us video that you use on your website, then great. If you're creating video for it, then maybe use it to do things like video testimonials or case studies or video from last year's event promoting this year's event, that kind of thing. And you can put it on your page without sponsoring it, or you can do it as sponsored content, or do both. So it's a good tool. You can also pin the video to the top of your page. So if you make a nice About Us video, then yeah, pin it to the top of your company page. In general, I think most people's LinkedIn company pages are pretty bland. So if you can start to add a bit of content like this to yours, you might find that you stand out compared to the competitors, because it is something that gets neglected an awful lot, and yet it's there for the taking. So have a look at yours and see if you can make a bit more of it. Okay, moving on to Twitter. The biggest thing that's happened on Twitter is pretty invisible, and it's happened over the last couple of months really. And the only way you'll have noticed it is if you have found a big drop in your Twitter followers or interactions, or even a drop in the referral traffic to your website from Twitter. And I think nearly everybody that I look after, this has happened, and it's not my fault, it's not their fault, it's Twitter's fault, and it's a good thing. And the reason it's a good thing is that Twitter has had a massive crackdown on abusive accounts and trolling accounts, and has closed down a lot of accounts. So if you did have lots of spammy accounts following you, and to be honest, who doesn't, because most of us kind of ran out of energy for clearing them off a long time ago, then they might have gone. And so therefore your reach has gone, probably quite dramatically, because their reach was pretty big. So by getting rid of those trolls, it's got rid of quite a lot of your coverage, but it was all spam, rubbish coverage anyway, so it doesn't matter. But if you've seen a drop in your Twitter numbers, this is probably why. So some of the things that have happened as a result of that is actual accounts being closed down, and that might be accounts that have been reported a lot of times or blocked by a lot of people. It might be accounts that were posting the same content in lots of places, and that's spammy behavior, so that might have caused them to be flagged as a trouble account. And it might just be accounts that have not had anything much in the way of real engagement. There's been a bit in the press about this, so you might have seen it. Hang on, going back. If we have a look at, just to prove that I'm not making this up. So the Guardian's written about it. So it's a crackdown on problem accounts, locking accounts and getting rid of them because of abuse and misinformation, things like that being sent out. Anyone with toxic content is on the way out. So what they're saying is, your follow account was artificially inflated and it's no longer artificially inflated. So if your boss is wondering why your Twitter activity has gone down, it's not your fault. This is why. Hopefully it'll settle down, and in future the content will be better and you'll get better results. Another change is partly new and partly just something people just don't know about, so I thought I'd mention it, and that is some changes to Twitter analytics. Twitter analytics are not straight easily available in Twitter. You have to actually go to analytics.twitter.com to see your analytics, and so not everybody knows they're there and not everybody looks at them. But there has been some stuff this is there, and B, it's been added to. So there's a bit more information within this. And again, I'll show you by showing you mine. So we can see on here that on the home page, you just get a summary, and this is usually brings up the last 28 days, how many tweets you've sent out, what impressions you've had, how many people have visited your profile, how many mentions, how many followers you've got. Mine's gone down a bit this month. Hopefully that's to do with what we've just talked about and not people actively leaving me. So this is helpful, and this is the general stuff. Which tweet got me the most impressions? Oh, fantastic, one about this, so that's cool. And also who my top follower is, so which person that follows me has got the most reach this month. Which tweet I sent out with media involved in it got the most impressions, and that you can look back over the last few months like that. In here you've got more information about your tweets, and a bit more detail, and you can see the replies, top tweets, promoted tweets if you paid for any, and how those are working out. Same sort of stuff. Audiences is getting towards Facebook Insights, not quite as much detail because we don't give Twitter quite as much detail, but it tells me the demographics of my audience, male or female, where they are in the world, what languages they speak, what part of the country they're in. Nothing massively surprising about this one. What device they use, what they're interested in. I'm not sure about this. I really don't know. A lot of you are following me on Twitter, and I don't think that you're all massively interested in the weather, but maybe I should try it. I don't think I've shared any tweets about the weather, so perhaps it's time to do that. But so this is a bit not massively useful at the moment, but it might get there. Business news I do share about, and probably most of these. So that's a helpful, perhaps. Events is Twitter generally has its uses, not huge amounts, but it's showing what people are talking about on Twitter generally. Recurring trends is perhaps useful if you're looking for ideas for what on earth to tweet. It shows you some of the bigger trends that you might want to use in your tweets. So Man Crush Monday we might avoid, but Follow Friday, Flashback Friday, Throwback Thursday, all things that I have done. Wellness Wednesday, whoa, that's a new one. Okay, so some ideas in events, and if you set them up under more, you can look at conversion tracking. So if you add the Twitter code to your website, you'll be able to see events on your website that have happened from Twitter. So here we've got how many people went to the contact page from Twitter, how many people went to the site from Twitter. You could add sales from Twitter or sign-ups to the event from Twitter and things like that once you've got the tracking code installed, which is fairly straightforward. So knowing that is there really, and if it's of any use to you, go and investigate. Video is also in here, and I don't think I've got any, but you can actually see, yeah, how long people watch the video for. Did they complete watching the whole video if you're sharing video content? Nearly there. Going a bit late. Third-party apps on Twitter. This is very new. This only happened on the 16th of August, so it might not have hit you yet. Twitter is shutting down access to some developer tools that link with other apps like Tweetbot and Twitterific. They're two of the biggest ones that have been affected. And what this is doing is trying to get you to deal with Twitter via Twitter rather than deal with it using other apps and streaming tools. So although at the moment the top three that have affected are Tweetbot, Twitterific, and one called Talon, which are a bit older, it may impact on other Twitter tools. So the thing I'm saying to people is, if you've got, for example, a Twitter feed on your website that puts your latest tweet onto your website, I would keep an eye on that over the next couple of months and make sure that it continues to work, because some of these may get broken by changes to the Twitter platform, as they're generally making it a bit less open and a bit less accessible. So keep an eye out and check that any third-party apps that you are using are still working properly. Okay, that is it. That is the end of my presentation, apart from to say that if you look in the handout section of the webinar screen, so where you've signed in, you've got various tabs. One of them says questions, feel free to add any right now, and one of them says handouts. And if you go to the handout there, you can download a PDF with all these slides, and on the last slide you'll find whole bunch of links, and these are all links to take you to a bit more evidence of what I've been talking about. So if you want to read a bit more about how any of this is set up or happening, you can do that via the handout stage. Otherwise, that's everything. So thanks for joining us today. Do add a question if you have one. I've only got one at the moment, and that is Facebook. Somebody's saying, how does Facebook get the data that it gets? So, okay, so we said that Facebook can no longer, you can no longer target on Facebook based on things that come from partner information, like investment and income and things like that, but you can target against all kinds of other things, like what you're interested in and where you're planning on going on holiday and where you are. How does it know what it knows? So the question is, how does it know what it does know? Where does it get data from? So Facebook gets data from three main places. It gets data from what you tell it when you sign up. So when you sign up, and as you go, you'll have told it what your name is and probably where you live and maybe what school you went to, where you work, your date of birth. So you've given away quite a bit already. Then it gets data from your interactions on Facebook. So it knows what pages you like, it knows who you follow, it knows what kind of content that you interact with. So it knows, like, if you're someone that watches a lot of videos, or if you're me and you don't watch very many videos but you read stuff. And it also knows some stuff about you from advertisers. So if you are on somebody's email list and they've uploaded that list to Facebook, then it would know that you're a customer of that company. So that's the three main sources: is stuff you've told it, stuff you've done, and stuff that you've given other companies and they've uploaded. As I said, don't forget to download the handout now if you want to. And we've recorded this and we're going to put it up. So if you missed it, or if you want to recommend it to somebody else, feel free, and they can come in and watch it at their convenience. And we'll be emailing that link out to you afterwards. Okay, thanks very much. I hope to see you soon. If I meet you in the flesh, do tell me that you came to this, because obviously I have no idea what you look like from this, and it would be great to meet you. Thank you.
Well, I thought that was an amazing webinar, really helpful, and I learned something. I hope you did too. Don't forget that if you want to find out more about any other help and support available, give the Growth Hub a call or contact us on social media. We can send someone out to have a chat and find any support to help you move your business to the next level.